with the lesson. Okay, so today I'm gonna be doing, like I said, it's the for and a random program. I'm gonna be continuing doing a bit of the buttons and also showing three new things. The one is the round. So if we have a real number, how do we round it off to, like, say 2 decimals or 3 decimals, etc. Then we've got the display the letters of the alphabet, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc. And display 10 to 1. So whereas we had displaying like 1 to 10, so now it's just going to be the reverse, displaying 10 down to 1. Okay, so I'm going to start with just the easy one, the display the letters of the alphabet. So we can just open up that button. Okay. So in the beginning, I'm just gonna have an red display dot lines dot clear. So that's just to clear my display. Next up, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a for loop. Okay. Instead of I being an integer, we can just say, let's make it C, and then where the variables are, we can just say C is a data type of char. Just remember to add your var there, and then we can also say, okay, so start at A, go all the way to Z. Then just what we do is we've got our begin, our end, and then we must just display C, because C will be the one going from A up until Z. Okay, so then we can just say red display lines lines dot add, and then we just display C in here. Okay, so if you run the program, it's taking a while. You will see now if you click on the display the letters of the alphabet, it's gonna run all the way from A, B, C, D, E, F, G up until Z. Okay, just take note, if you've got a capital here, you need to have a capital on this side, because otherwise if you just say a small letter Z and you run this program, you will see, if you display the letters, it's going to be A, B, C up until Z, but then there's other characters that follow along, and then we get our A, again small letters until it's reached a small letter Z. Okay, so if you've got the capital on the one side, make it a capital on the other side. If you've got a small letter A and a small letter Z on the other side. Okay, obviously you can go from anywhere you want to, so you can also make it from D till M or R to Z, just what you want to do. Okay, the next one is display 10 to 1. So again, let's just have a variable called I, which will be an integer, and then we can just say our rich edit display dot lines dot clear. Okay, so now that we've cleared the reach edit, all we want to do is we're going to have a for loop of I, which is going to run from 10 to 1. The only thing you have to change here is, instead of saying 10 to 1, we must write down to 1. Okay, so there's going to be for I, so it's going to start at 10 and then it's going to run down to 1 and then stop at 1. So I can just go begin. I can have my reach edit display dot lines dot add. Okay, and just remember my I is an integer, so I want to into a string, and then add my I into that conversion. Then I can run the program again, and you will see display 10 to 1 will work perfectly. Okay, so just a recap on those two. For the letters of the alphabet, I cleared my rich edit. I had a for loop for C. I also changed my C here to be a char data type, because it's gonna have like the values A, B, C, which is of data type character or char. So then this loop will just go from A to Z, and I'm just displaying it every time. Okay, the next button is display 10 to 1. So again, I've got my rich edit clear. I have my for loop, and then I is again an integer, and then I just go from 10, instead of just a 2, I've got down to 1, and then obviously I just display it into my rich edit. So the next one here, okay, what we want to do now is gonna explain the function round. Okay, I'm gonna implement that one into a button. So let's see. I just want to find, okay, random real 50 and 100. Okay, we did. Okay, let me explain it in this one. Random 10 nope, not that one. Random 5 real numbers between 57 and 170. Okay, so real numbers, obviously a double with a decimal. Okay, so at the beginning, all that I want to do, I'm gonna have a var. I've got my I as data type integer. Okay, then what I want to do is I want to call randomize, because I know we are gonna be randoming some numbers. I want to clear my rich edit, so I write red display.lines dot clear. Then I want to begin with my for loop. So for I, it said how many? It said random 5. Okay, so I can go 1 to 5. So 1 to 5, and then I can click begin. Alright, so in between the begin and end, now I want to go random my number. Okay, what I'm also gonna need is, because it's a double, I can just add a variable called, let's just call it rand. That would be of data type double. Okay, so now we can just say our rand inside the begin and end will get the value of random. You can hold down control, press space, so it gives you this menu, then you just click enter. So random, our highest minus our lowest, so highest is 170 minus lowest is 57, so highest minus lowest plus 1, and then on the outside just plus our lowest, so 57. Okay, so because this is a real number or a double, we want to add that decimal at the end, so we would just say plus random with empty brackets. Okay, so that will basically then just give us our random number between the range of 57 and 170, add a decimal onto it, and then our next step would have been displaying it, but now I'm gonna round it off to 3 decimal places. Okay, so I can just say, so rand gets the value of what we can say round. Okay, once we have our round, we must say just what do we want to round. We want to say random times 100, 3 decimals is times 1000, and then on the outside divide by 1000. Okay, so then we can run this program. Oh, it's not going to display anything, sorry. Okay, then we need to display it. I'm going to explain this round part in 1 second and how it works. Okay, so then we just want to say red display dot lines dot add, and then I just want to display our rand. But now we just need to say, okay, because it's a double, we want to say float to string and then display rand. Okay, so now if we run this program, you can click on the button, you will see, there we go, this is our number. So one that does not look rounded, you will see there are a lot of numbers behind the decimal. If we click the one where we rounded it off to 3 decimal places, you will see it looks very nice and tidy. Okay, how the round works. Okay, so this function round we're gonna call round, and then inside the brackets we will have what do we want to round. Then we're gonna say multiply that by, you can write 1, and then how many decimals do you want? If you want 2 decimals, it would be 100, so 2 zeros. If it's 3 decimals, it would be 1,000. If it's 4 decimals, it would be 10,000, and so on and so on. Let's quickly stick to maybe 3. So it's 1,000, and then outside of the brackets we just want to divide by 1,000. Okay, so how does this work? Let's say we've got the number around, we've got, let's call our variable rand times 1,000, then divide by 1,000, and rand contains, let's say 102, 569. Just say it contains this large number. Just going to remove the 5s out of it quickly. Okay. So let's say rand contains this amount, 102,693,214, etc. So if we call that round function on that rand, so what will happen is we're going to have our round, and then our, what the computer sees, it's going to be that 102,693, etc, etc, times by 1,000, and then divide by 1,000. Okay, so here's what actually happens. Okay, so we're going to have our round, but remember, inside brackets always happens first. Okay, so it's going to be 102,693 times 1,000. So what happens when you say times 1,000? A comma will then just move the amount of spaces that there are zeros. So there are 3 zeros, so a comma will just move 3 times to the right. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that will be our new number, 102,693, and then the comma's new place will be over there, and then we will have the rest of our number, just like this. Okay, so that is then this step done. Okay, so then what remains is still our divide by 1,000. Okay, the next step, what's going to happen, it's going to actually go and round this number between the brackets. Okay, so if this number is rounded, it's going to go look at the comma, it's going to go look at the one after. Okay, is this bigger than 5? Do 3 need to be rounded up or down? It's just going to be the same. So if we round that number, we will just get the number of 102,693. Okay, so that will be our new number, because the rest of the decimal will be rounded. Okay, and then we just have our divide by 1,000 remaining. The next step, what the computer does is it then just takes this number, divides it by 1,000, and that will be then our rounded number. So if it's going to take 102,693 divide by 1,000, so like I said, if you multiply by 1,000, the comma moves to the right. If you divide, the comma moves to the left. So the comma at the current position is here after the 3. So now it needs to move 3 times to the left. So it will be 1, 2, 3. And then our comma will be inserted, and then our remaining number will be 102,693. Okay, and that basically is how the computer will take a number and round it to a certain decimal you want. Okay.